and welcome once again to It's Not Rocket Science. 5 questions over coffee. That's 5 questions over coffee. Not coffee today. I'm already caffeined out, and you don't want too much. Well done, Veronica. I've already had far too much. So this is just some nice water with a piece of lime in it to keep me hydrated. But I'm here today with Veronica Kirin. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Veronica helps with small business entrepreneurs to expand their empire. She talks about empire building. I think it's going to be a great conversation because I think empire building is a hugely interesting concept. So, Veronica, I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Welcome to It's Not Rocket Science, 5 questions over coffee.
Hi, Stuart. Thank you. And I actually, I'm drinking tea, not coffee as well.
Well,
over caffeinated.
Okay. Tea is allowed. Tea is allowed. So let's start with the first question. So, can you describe the small business entrepreneurs who really want to build their empire in a few sentences?
Yeah, definitely. So you're going to be somebody who is ready to build your empire if you've been in business for over 2 years and you're starting to feel like you're hitting a ceiling. You don't know what that ceiling is, but for some reason you can't seem to get to the next big leap. You have a bigger vision than what is happening right now, and it feels like you're constantly spinning your wheels. It's a hamster wheel that you're on and you can't get off of it, and it's actually really exhausting, and you're starting to wonder what the heck you were thinking in the first place.
Yeah, I think we've all had that feeling at one stage in our lives, haven't we? So what sort of things do you think that most of those people have done to try and help themselves to overcome those sort of challenges before they reach out for help?
Yeah. So I have met a lot of entrepreneurs who dive into the books, take the courses, might even go on a retreat or two. They might hire a marketing director or a social media person to try to get the word out more, because they think it's about getting more customers and clients in. If I can just get more clients and customers in, then everything will be okay, because it's actually a revenue problem. And in fact, it's not a revenue problem. The problem goes much deeper, which we'll talk about, I think, next.
Yeah, that's interesting because a lot of the time, a lot of the problems, it isn't about the sort of the way in which you're presenting yourself. It's understanding your customer or something like that. It's getting into those sort of things, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's about the scaling toolkit. So if you imagine that you have a toolbox of your business knowledge, you might be stellar at whatever it is that you do. Like, you're a photographer, you're an artist, you're really, really good at messaging and content development. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have a really big business toolbox. And to add to that, if you don't have scaling tools in your business toolbox, then that's where the hamster wheel starts to really spin.
So this, I guess, is where we come to your valuable free action, I guess, which I'm going to display on a ticker beneath you now, this is where we get interesting information from you, the toolbox, or a site into that toolbox. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I am a scaling coach for small business owners. I steal the startup scaling tools and give them to small business owners, because I was that small business owner who was languishing in burnout and had no idea that scaling was even allowed for small businesses, because they make it sound like it's only for Fortune 500 companies, which is just wild to me. And so in the roadmap that you described that we see scrolling below, I've taken the 3 pillars of business scaling, the 3 simple things that small business owners need to do in order to scale and can start implementing now. And I've put them into a guide that will identify where you are on the roadmap and what you need to do next in order to start to relieve that hamster wheel pain.
And you're talking about small business owners who don't have access to that. What are the sort of tools that you're talking about?
Yeah. So I'm talking about things like creating systems for every actionable step within your company. So anything that's repeating in your company should be systemized and laid out. A lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners that I meet are trying to hold everything in their heads. They haven't externalized their tasking. They haven't externalized their systems or processes. And so when it comes time to take an action in the business, there's a lot of thinking that's going on, and it's exhausting them instead of leaving them in the creative creative space of the visionary CEO that they're trying to become.
Yeah.
So one of the major tools I instill is to create systems. And then I help my clients. I've done a lot of the systems already because I've had several businesses. So I'll show you the shortcuts into creating the system so that you can get into action and growth rather than into the just creating the things.
Brilliant. You're talking my language. It's a lot of the stuff that I do. I sort of, I spend a lot of my time scaling businesses. I took one business from 60 to 600 people. And the last thing you want to do is have absolutely no systems in place for 600 people, because you would just never get anything done. You've got to have systems when you get to those sort of levels.
Even the hiring process, like if you don't have a system and process for that, you're hiring blind, and people don't realize that you need more than just a list of skills in order to hire someone.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So what's the book or concept or talk that's really inspired you and that you think would be great value to the audience listening at the moment? And we have people
100%.
listening at the moment.
Woohoo! What's up, everybody? Of course you though, because you do such a good job with the show. So actually I give one book to every single client when we start working together, and it's called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Yes, he's the guy who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. That threw me for a loop when people were recommending it to me way back in the day. But it is, I kind of call it my Bible. Like, it's one of those books you can crack open. It's actually right here behind me. You can just pull it open, flip to a page, and have incredible impact in your life that day. And even though I've read it and I've read it several times, it's still something that I pull open regularly. It truly, truly, truly changed my life. It's a whole story. I don't think we have time for it, but I can fundamentally say my life would not be what it is today without that book.
Oh, brilliant. I love hearing about books that have done that to people. I know the book that changed my life, and it's actually by the founder of McDonald's, which actually is another great book along exactly the same lines. It's a really good book.
Is that the Golden Arch book that you were talking about?
Yeah.
I have that on my e-reader and I haven't read it yet. Okay.
You've got to read that one. That's another one that's fundamentally, it's really inspiring for small people who are thinking to themselves, can I make this business bigger? And the answer is yes, you can, but you've just got to learn to let go of things, delegate, which is another one of the things that I think people need to learn more of. Delegation is a key skill that so many people just, they think it's going to be easier to sort of keep doing it myself because it's difficult to learn how to delegate. And I teach people just, it's 4 steps to delegate something. And once you've got those 4 steps, you can actually expand your environment here. You can expand your universe, because you can turn around to somebody and say, this is a task I need you to do. Well, I can go and do something which you're better at it than me. I can go and do something that I'm good at. You could do what you're good at. Let's do the things together.
Yeah. So, and a lot of business owners, I noticed, try to hire like mini me's. They keep trying to find someone who can do what I do, but just like do it within this other area. And that's not what you want to be doing. You want to be hiring specialties and fragment yourself. So this area of the business gets better and this area of the business gets better. And then it just expands and expands. Oh, yes. Yes, Stuart.
Key skill for me, actually, Veronica, we could speak about this for many hours, I suspect, is hire those people that are actually better at it than you are. Because if you're good at being creative, the last thing you want is another creative person. You need somebody who's a great completer finisher. You need somebody who's great at accounts. So you go hire a great person at accounts and leave the accounts alone, because they're no longer what you're good at.
Right.
You could talk for hours.
You're the visionary in your industry. That's why you started the business. You had a vision for your industry, for your specialty. And that's where you need to stay. That's the lane that you should be staying in as a founder and CEO.
So we come to what is probably the most important question here, which is, what is the one question that I should have asked you, which I haven't yet, that you would like me to have asked? And what's the answer to the question?
So I think you should have asked me what an empire is. And the answer to that question is a business that has multiple income streams and widespread impact. Basically, people who want to leave a legacy, but not just by staying in one lane. They want to be able to have impact through multiple income streams and multiple offerings.
I love that. I love that definition of an empire. I'm fairly sure that the Romans would have agreed with you, and I know you've got a connection to empires in places like Croatia. I think they probably understood the multiple income stream models. So, what a great definition of empire. Listen, we're reaching the end of the podcast. This has been a really fascinating discussion with Veronica. I'm really grateful for you spending some time with us, Veronica, giving us this this just a small insight into the idea of building an empire, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And I really encourage you all, go to Veronica's website, which is veronicakirin.com/roadmap. That's Veronica, VeronikaKirin.com/roadmap, and go have a look at some of the stuff she's got on her website. It's really a fascinating journey into empire, and a fascinating journey into the sort of things you can do to help you. Veronica, it's been really brilliant spending some time today. If you'd like to sort of hear from what we're doing here at The Complete Approach, maybe you could too be watching today, because you'll have seen me send out an email yesterday with everything that's going to happen today with Veronica. Go to tca.fyi, that's tca.fyi, real short, /subscribe. That gets you onto the newsletter. It also gives you an opportunity to find out what's going on. And if you're watching this and enjoy it, listen, tell your friends, tell everybody you know about the podcast, and get them to subscribe so that we can help the rest of the world to understand how to get their businesses scaled as well. Veronica, it's been really brilliant spending some time with you. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us.
Thanks, Stuart. It's been so fun.
No problem. And now we're going to try and find the right thing to leave us on the outro. I'm going to have to find it.